Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. Maelstrom Risen ran through Nyrisia and Solidia in Aeon's End last week, so now we're back to a more friendly universe. This week we're going to debut Call to Adventure Epic Origins from Brotherwise Games. We played Call to Adventure on the channel earlier this year, but this game looks to be a campaign game set in that universe. In this game, we're going to be building a backstory for a character. You might use a game like this to create a backstory for a character in, say, a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. And there might be uses for other tabletop RPGs, but D&D is where I would start. Combined with a game called Role Player, you might use this to build up your entire character. First thing we need to do, though, is we need to meet our adversary, and I've got the campaign envelope right here. So we'll take our first look inside this and see what we've got. Looks like we've got a bit of story text here. Chapter 1, Darkness Falls. A plague of darkness sweeps across the land, controlled by the tyrannical Dark Lord. With the power to corrupt all but the most pure-hearted, the Dark Lord has overthrown the greatest kingdoms in the West. Now the Dark Lord's army is on the march, empowered by the sorcery of his undead bride. You have come of age in the Dark Lord's empire. Oracles warn that this reign of darkness is just the beginning of the prophesied end times, but legends also say that from the humblest beginnings, a hero will rise to save the world. So the time has come. Go forth, heed the call to adventure, and claim your destiny. Objective: confront the Dark Lord. Setup: shuffle Villager into the Origins deck and Chosen One into the Destiny deck. Then deal cards to each player. See Rulebook page 3. Shuffle Dark Lord's Call into the Adversary Feat deck. Prepare the adversary and begin play. The outcome is whether you succeed or fail. Open the next envelope. If you fail to defeat the Dark Lord, confront him once more in a future play session. But for now, the legendary beast cannot be ignored. So... okay. Alright, I've got to go get some more sleeves and redo a little bit of setup from what I did last night. Let's see, so I need looks like I need a regular size sleeve as well. What did I do with... here's my open pack sleeves. Alright, that is... okay. So I'm just doing a little bit off camera. So there's the card for Dark Lord's Call. We'll shuffle that into the Feat deck. Alright, so the Dark Feats are ready to go. Okay, Dark Lord's Consort. 1, 2, 3 tarot-sized sleeves. So it looks like this is going to be our adversary today. The Dark Lord's Consort, which uses Strength and Charisma, I believe that is. It's been a while. No, that's actually Constitution and Charisma. So they gain experience when a hero gains corruption, lose experience when a hero gains light, gain +2 to attempt this if you have at least 2 traits. And I believe the other side, I was looking at this, is probably for the... I'm not sure what this is, actually. Let me see if setup tells me. Let's see, adversary side up. Okay, so I bet... okay, so it's got adversary side and then final adversary side. I'm assuming... let me look here. The special challenge. The adversary card is double-sided. The turn after they end Act 2, the challenge... okay, so that's how that works. So the adversary challenge is double-sided. So we face the Dark Lord's Consort after we end Act 2. Then we flip it to reveal the final adversary, which must be faced after Act 3. We'll go through the final adversary when we actually get to that point. But, okay, now that I've got that all figured out, we'll bring the rule book back in shot. We'll do a reshuffle on the Origins, I believe. Wait a minute. Okay, Chosen One goes into the Destiny deck, it looks like. So I will go ahead and reshuffle these. And we'll pick again, and we'll deal these out. Alright, so that is this deck. Okay. Give this a quick shuffle. That's the challenge of some of these. The challenge of some of these legacy games is they might modify setup, which can throw my routine, at least, off kilter a bit, because I tend to do my setups for my videos. I tend to do my setups for my videos the night before, just so I can, just so theoretically I can just jump right in and start filming. And the Destiny, I believe it goes Heritage, Origin, Class, Destiny. Yep, Heritage is green with a silver acorn, brown with bronze, blue with silver, and red with gold. Okay, that's the Destiny. All right, we'll deal out 2 of those. All right, now let's go over and meet our hero for today. All right, first we need to actually set up our hero. So our heritage for our hero today is an elf. When we roll that on, well, when we cast that when we're reading the runes, gain either a hero or an anti-hero card, or spend an experience to gain 2. Then we have to choose from, then we have 2 origins to pick from. So our first choice for origin is a pirate using strength and arcane runes. If at least one of your runes shows that during a challenge, shows either a strength or an arcane, I believe that's intelligence, gain an anti-hero card. Or our other choice is artist, giving us constitution or arcane. Each time you basically each time you move on the alignment track, which is what this is, gain an experience. And I'm actually going to take the artist, the elf artist, because I at least want the constitution rune, so I have something to work with against the Dark Lord's consort. Now we have our classes to choose from. So our first choice for a class, and I just finished trimming my nails, so they're very short. First choice for a class is a rogue. 2 experience. Alright, so classes grant how much power based on how much experience you assign to it. So I can assign 2 experience to get a +1 to attempt. I believe that's dexterity paths, right? Yes. 4 experience for +1 to attempt, what did we establish that was? Intelligence paths. And 6 experience whenever I gain I don't remember what face, a mask face, gain an anti-hero card. I believe that is, I thought there was a reference for that somewhere. Villainy. So every time I add a villainy to my card, to my story, I gain an anti-hero card. Or a sorcerer. 2 experience for +1 to attempting, what was that? Charisma paths. 4 experience for +1 to attempting constitution. And 6 experience whenever I add, that's probably royalty, right? Yes, whenever I add a royalty to my experience, I gain an anti-hero card. I'll take the sorcerer for that. Then for that's destinies, right? I believe that's destinies. Yes. Normally the destiny would be hidden knowledge, but since we're playing solo, we're just going to use it as public knowledge. So first up, Chosen One. At the end of the game, gain four triumph if you overcame the adversary, and gain 4 more if you have at least 4 of one ability rune. Our other choice here, Secret Sovereign with a villainy. At the end of the game, gain 1 tragedy for each arcane or charisma in your story. 1 for each experience you have, not including experience on your class card. Does that experience you assign go away at the end of the turn? You permanently gain the listed bonus on it. Okay, and they stack, which would make sense. I think we're going to take the Chosen One bonus and try to focus on overcoming the adversary. So that goes there, that goes there. Trying to keep everything somewhat sorted out. Now we need to tip up to the actual board so we can reveal our first 4 act cards. Actually, before we do that, we need to reveal our first hero card. So our first hero card is Channel Divinity. Choose a hero attempting a challenge for each, wisdom. For each wisdom in their story, they gain +1 to their attempt. That seems pretty rubbish. I'll leave that face down to indicate that I haven't played it yet. Now we can tip up to look at the first adventures. So our first adventure in Act 1. Solve the riddle. A game of riddles using any arcane and charisma runes you have. You can either solve the riddle with the difficulty of 3 to get an arcane, or rig the game for +1 difficulty, but that'll give you an anti-hero card and another charisma rune. That is charisma, right? Yes, that is charisma. That's what I've been assuming this whole time. Next up we have fight off a goblin raid using either strength or constitution. You can either fight off the goblin, get another strength in your story, or lead the town guard, which gives you a +1 to give you another royalty and a charisma rune. I'm seeing a lot of charisma runes, which is good for against the Dark Lord's consort. Next up, Mysterious Cave using strength and constitution runes. You can either be the party's only survivor to get another constitution, or defend your party at a +1 difficulty, which will give you a triumph in your story and a strength rune to cast. And last up, we find Tough, giving you another Constitution rune. When you gain this, gain 1 if you have at least 1 dexterity in your story. Okay, so last thing we need to look at, we've looked at the Dark Lord's consort, now let's look at how the Reign of the Adversary is actually going to work. So here's the Adversary quest. The Adversary starts with 5 experience for each player in the game. Gain an experience when a hero fails a non-adversary challenge. When you roll that face, play a card from the Adversary deck. And when you face the Adversary, for each point of success above the Adversary's difficulty, the Adversary loses experience. So the way that works is, with the Dark Lord's consort being a 6, if I roll, say, an 8 total on all of my runes, if I roll an 8 total on that, the Adversary would lose 2 experience. That will probably make more sense later, after the first challenge. I'll try to really explain that after that point. But with that, I think everything's all set here, so let's get right into this game. Looking at the the cards that are out there right now, I think I'm going to go for Party's Only Survivor first, and I'm going to use another one of these tokens that are used on the alignment track to select which challenge I'm going for, just so I remember which one I'm looking at. We'll bring the dice tray into shot. Then I'll look into casting the runes, so I get these 3 default runes to start with. These two are double-sided. The third one has this double triangle face that you've been seeing referenced in a couple of places, mainly on Reign of the Adversary when it talks about playing a card from the adversary deck. Then you get any runes you have in your story, so I get a Constitution rune as well, and I need at least 3 successes, so that counts as a success, that counts as 1, that face counts as 2 successes. So I need to get at least 3 successes in order to pass the challenge. And I could spend experience for a dark rune, but I'm not going to this early in the game. So let's see what happens here. Okay, that right now is 4 successes, but I do have to play a card from the adversary deck. So the first card we find is Booby Trap. Reveal this as a hero attempts a challenge. It has +2 difficulty unless any hero discards a hero or an anti-hero card. I'm going to toss this hero card because gaining +1 for every wisdom in my story is not likely going to be a thing because I'm probably not going to get any wisdom in my story. And in addition, because I rolled that, I do get to draw I get to activate my heritage card, which is right. So I can gain either a hero or an anti-hero card, or spend an experience to gain 2 of either one. I'm going to gain another hero card. So here I will draw Selfless Act. Gaining a light gaining a light on the track, or giving another hero an experience to gain 2. More importantly, though, I have cleared Party's Only Survivor, so that will go under my Act 1 story, and now that'll add another Constitution rune to my rolls for the turn. So the next card I find here is Mountaintop Monastery. 3 successes using either Wisdom or Strength. I can either make a pilgrimage for a Wisdom or defend the monks to get +1 difficulty, and that will give me a mountain, which I believe is... I gotta double check what this is. It's a story icon. It's a nature and a strength into my story. Okay, so that was my first turn. Next up, I'm going to play out my aforementioned Selfless Act to give myself a light up. And since I did that, I gain an experience as well. I'm going to tip back down to the alignment track for just a second to point something out. I kind of glossed over it a little bit, but this alignment track over here indicates what level your character's at, which you can work into your story, along with what type of cards you can play. So everybody starts off at this level on the track, where you can play either hero or anti-hero cards. Now that I've gone up on the experience track, I can only play hero cards. Whereas if I advance further down, I'll only be able to play anti-hero cards. And eventually I can get so far down on the track that I can't even spend experience for dark runes anymore. So that will make sense. So that will probably make sense later. Before we go into that too far, I do want to back up and clarify something around the results I was talking about. So let's say we got this result. So let's say we got that and that for a total of 7 successes, because those count for 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I was facing the adversary with that roll, if I was facing the Dark Lord's Consort right now and I got that result when I cast the runes, the Dark Lord's Consort would lose 1 experience. So hopefully that makes sense. I will leave those in, though. We'll tip back up to the board. Since I don't have a dexterity, I really don't like that make a pilgrimage. So during my turn, I'm going to spend an experience to journey this make a pilgrimage off. And here we'll find Athletic, giving me a strength. When I gain this, gain an experience if I have at least 1 Constitution. Then I'm going to spend 2 experience onto my class to give me +1 when I attempt Charisma paths. which is not going to do me particularly good right now, but mainly because I don't have any charisma right now. But I think I'm going to go for fighting off a goblin, and I'm going to try to lead the town guard. So I'm going to try for a charisma. I'll spend an experience to get a dark rune into that. So the dark runes work a little bit differently. So if I roll that, I get 1 success. But if I roll the moon, I get 2 successes, but I have to move back down on the alignment track. I mostly want this for the extra successes. Okay, we'll bring the dice tray back in shot, and let's see what happens here. Okay, so I actually will fail the challenge right now, but let's see what the adversary card does for us. So the adversary card, Dark Lord's Call. Reveal this as a hero attempts a challenge, add a dark rune to the attempt. So I'll be casting another dark rune, which will probably let me succeed on the challenge. I'm going to draw, I'll resolve the Twist of Fate card when this is over. So I'll cast that, which will clear it, but it'll move me down 2 on the darkness track. So I do succeed in leading the town guard, which will give me a charisma. Actually, I would have passed that anyway because I had the +1 to attempting charisma paths. So that goes there. Then we'll flip this over to find City Lord's Prison using Arcane or Constitution. I can either try to outwit my captors to get an Arcane, or serve my time giving me +1 to give me, that's a Justice icon, I'm sure, and another Constitution. That's a Justice. So that goes there. Then I'm not going to need those dark runes this turn because I can't spend experience to get one anyway. But I'm going to go serve my time. And I'm going to go to City Lord's Prison and serve my time. So that'll give me 2 Constitution runes. That'll give me all 3. That should give me all 3 fairly early in the story. And I need a 4. I need a 4 to clear that, and I'm rolling 5, and I'm casting 5 runes. Also, when I gain 2 dark, the adversary gains 2 more experience. I wasn't completely paying attention to that. So the adversary's at 7 experience. Let's see what happens when I cast the runes on the City Lord's Prison. 1, 2, 3, 4, but I've got to play a card from the adversary deck, and I'll get to draw a card. So the adversary will play Wandering Monster. Reveal this as a hero attempts a challenge. It has +1 difficulty. Oh, that's great. And then I'll draw a hero card, so I will draw Teamwork. Choose a hero attempting a Strength, Arcane, or Wisdom path. If it's your turn, gain +1 to your attempt. If it's another hero's turn, they gain +2. But because of the Wandering Monster, I do fail the challenge, which will give the hero an experience. Actually, they should have had... The hero should have lost an experience. Should be net 1. Okay, so they actually will get another experience for me failing the City Lord's Prison, but I'll get an experience as well as a consolation prize, and then that's gone. So now the next challenge to come out is Perceptive. When I gain this, gain an experience if I have at least 1 Arcane. And I think I will actually just draft Tough as my card this turn, which will give me my 3rd Constitution roll. I don't have the Dexterity to gain an extra card from that. So now Act 1 is done, which means these can actually go back to the box at this point. And I do have to keep in mind that after Act 2 is over, I will have to face the Dark Lord's Consort. So those can go back to the box. I'll just do it like that for the time being. All right, so now we can reveal Act 2, our first Act 2 card. Is Desolate Desert, Charisma, Wisdom. I can either rob the pyramid at a 5 difficulty. I can either rob the pyramid for a villainy, one tragedy point, and a charisma rune, or try to break the curse, which will give me +1, and that will give me a royalty story icon, 2 triumph, and a wisdom. Next up, Rival Adventurers, Strength and Charisma. I can either vanquish my rivals getting an anti-hero card and a strength rune, or recruit new allies, which will give me a hero card, a royalty, and a charisma, but recruit new allies has +1 difficulty on it. Next up, Wedding Day for 4 charisma and might, and constitution. I can either gain a life partner, which will give me a divinity story icon and a charisma, or object to the union for +1 difficulty, 2 tragedy points, and another constitution rune, which I do need at least 4 constitution runes for my destiny. Last up, Treasure Hunter. Giving me an anti-hero card and a dexterity rune into my story. When I gain this, I can take an experience from another player or the adversary. All right, so for my first card of Act 2, I think I'm going to go to Wedding Day, and I get to use the normal 3 runes. I'm going for gain a life partner, mostly because I want the charisma. So I've got my 3 normal runes, 2 constitution, and I get 1 charisma. Plus I get a +1 to attempting a charisma path because I've got 2 experience on sorcerer. So let's see what happens here. That is a lot of successes. That's actually more than I need. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yes, I've definitely cleared that challenge. Wedding Day to gain a life partner, which will put that down there. And then we need a new card for Act 2. So here we find Gladiator, 1 tragedy point and a strength. When you gain this, gain an experience if you added a strength or dexterity path to your story last turn, which I didn't do. I think, though, we're going to go for... I think here we're going to take Treasure Hunter, which will let me take which will give me an anti-hero card along with a dexterity into my story. And then when I gain this, I can take an experience from another player or the adversary, which I will take 1 experience from the adversary, which will give me 2. And then we'll draw a new Act 2 card to replace it. So we will find Forgotten Mine, 4 difficulty of 4 using Wisdom and Dexterity. I can either find the lost mine for 1 triumph and a wisdom into my story, or delve for treasure at a +1 difficulty, giving me an anti-hero card, actually 1 of each, and another dexterity, but I do get an anti-hero card from Treasure Hunter. So here I'll find Rage with 1 tragedy. Choose a hero attempting a challenge. For each constitution in their story, they gain +1 to their attempt. That might be handy for later on, but I think we're going to start by putting two more experience onto Sorcerer, which will give me +1 to attempting Constitution paths. And with that, what do I want to do here? I've got 2 Charisma now into my story. Strength, I don't think I think I will take the Gladiator, actually, which will give me a tragedy point and a strength. When I gain this, I gain an experience if I added a strength or dexterity path to my story last turn. And I wonder if that interacts with Treasure Hunter. I would think so. Only has 1 path, so yeah. I added a dexterity path to my story last turn, So I do get an experience from Gladiator. And then since that's Act 2, I've been assuming the act ends when 3 challenges go under the story. Yep, 3 story cards under the... Okay, so yeah. So the act ends when 3 traits and 3 paths have been placed under each act, which means now I do have to face the Dark Lord's consort. So I'll bring the Dark Lord's consort back into shot. We'll recall what she does. We'll get a hero card if we can defeat her. We have a 6 difficulty using Constitution and Charisma. Gain +2 to attempt this if you have at least 2 traits, and we have 3 traits. So that means I've got a guaranteed +2 to attempt this. Then I've got to gather up my runes. So I've got my... So we'll bring the dice tray back into shot. I've got my 3 default runes here. I get all 3 Constitution, which the Constitution now gives me this one, where that, I believe, doubles as another 2 success. It's been a while since I've played Call of Adventure, so I'm just a touch clunky at this game. Or add 0 and immediately gain an experience. I might want the extra successes just to pull some experience away. And I get 2 Charisma runes. So yeah, let's see what we roll here. We're against a 6 and we've already got a guaranteed 2. Wow, okay, that one's cocked, but I see a lot of successes in there. Alright, so I do have to... So I'll gain either card, but I get to draw... But I have to draw a card from the adversary deck first, so we will draw... Wandering Monster. Reveal this as a hero attempts a challenge. It gets +1. So now that's a 7, but I'm pretty sure I still have more than enough. So 6, 7, 8. I will clear that. I'll draw a hero card. So here I will draw. Holy Symbol. Play this as any hero attempts a Wisdom or Radiant path. I believe that's Radiant, right? That's a Divinity path. So play as a hero attempts a Wisdom or Divinity path. Add +2 to the attempt. Okay, so just double checking the math. I had +2 since I attempted this with 2 traits. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or I can instantly gain an experience from that, but I don't think I want to. I think I want the extra 2. So that brings me up to a total of 10 against a 7, which means I pass by 3. So I remove 3 experience from the adversary. And we have defeated the Dark Lord's consort, which will give us a hero card. So the hero card we'll draw here is Ray of Hope. If the adversary lost experience this turn, gain light or remove another experience from the adversary. I think I'm going to gain a light, which will actually remove another experience from the adversary anyway, which will bring the adversary down to 2 experience. And I've now cleared that. And I've now defeated the Dark Lord's consort. So now we have to flip it over to... reveal the final adversary. This one we'll have to face after Act 3. So here we find the Dark Lord, our final adversary, giving us 7 Triumph and another Constitution. We use our Constitution and Charisma. All right, when the adversary gains experience when we gain a corruption. On the Twist of Fate, we either gain a corruption or get a -1 to the attempt, and they lose an experience when a hero gains light. So we can return Act 2 to the box as well. Then we'll reveal Act 3, and by the time we're done with that, I think we'll need to take a small break. So now that we've got that figured out, let's reveal Act 3 traits, or Act 3 adventures. First up we find Shadow Dancer, which gives us an anti-hero card, dexterity, and wisdom. When you gain this, if you have at least three tragedy paths in your story, gain 2 experience. I'd like to get 1 more charisma, ideally, before I face the Dark Lord. Next up, Extraplanar Incursion, using Wisdom and Arcane. I can either summon a demon for, I believe we established that was a villainy, 2 tragedy, and an arcane, or close the portal with +1 difficulty to get a nature, 3 triumph, and a wisdom. Next up, Planar Crossroads, 7 difficulty, using wisdom and dexterity. You can either walk the plains for 3 triumph, dexterity, and I've been going back and forth finding what these are. Arcana story icons, or find a lost soul for +1 difficulty, which will give you a divinity, 4 triumph, and a wisdom. Not a single charisma or constitution to be found. Last up. Okay, there's a constitution. Last Stand. Using dexterity and constitution, we can either try for a narrow escape, taking an anti-hero card, 2 tragedy, and a dexterity, or a noble sacrifice for +1 difficulty. A divinity, at least I think that was divinity, right? Yes, that was divinity. 3 triumph points and a constitution. Before we start Act 3, though, I need to take a small break. All of these adventures are pretty much garbage to start Act 3 off, but okay, I did play Ray of Hope. What do we want to do here? I'd rather use that for the Dark Lord, but I think I'm going to go for a narrow escape. And what's the card? There was a card I was putting aside to use for this. Actually, I'm going to go for Last Stand and try for a noble sacrifice. And I'll play Holy Symbol since I'm going for a divinity path, which will give me +2 to the attempt. So this one's a +2. I get my dexterity and my constitution. Means the charismas can come out. I get all 3 constitution, right? Yes. And I get 1 dexterity, which is right here. Bring the dice tray back into shot. So I've got a guaranteed 2 on this. Actually, I've got a guaranteed 3 because I'm attempting a constitution path on my sorcerer story. So I've got a guaranteed 3 right here, which means I only need to roll 4 to clear this. Which I roll exactly 4, but I do get an experience. So that gives me the divinity icon and another constitution rune. The extra constitution doesn't do anything for me in terms of runes to roll, but it will help with my destiny. So that goes there. Dice tray comes out of shot, and our next card in Act 3 is Lore Master, giving me an Arcana, a Wisdom, and a Charisma. When I gain this, if I have at least 3 different story icons, gain 2 experience, and I'm pretty sure I do have 3 different story icons. Actually, no, I don't have 3 different story icons. I thought I had the 3rd one, but I have Royalty, I've got 3 Divinity. So I would need 1 more different story icon. That's good for Royalty, but I think I'm going to journey off. Summon a Demon. That's not that great right now. So this the adventure I find here, City in the Sky, 7 difficulty, using Constitution and Arcane. I can either capture a Jinn for giving me an anti-hero card, 3 tragedy, and another Constitution, or study the power source at +1 difficulty, which will give me a hero card, 4 triumph, and an arcane. That's a little better. I think we're going to go for the City in the Sky and try to capture a Jinn. So I'll bring the tray back into shot. Let's see, I get the charisma or the dexterity can leave the shot. I get my 3 default runes, my 3 constitution runes, and I have 1 arcane. Okay, and I need a 7, but I've got a guaranteed 1. Is there anything I can use to help out with this? Yes, I can use teamwork, actually, actually, no, I can't because I'm not attempting an arcane path. Never mind, so I've got a guaranteed 1, though. Which means I need to roll 6 on... Which means I need to roll 6 on 7 runes. Doable, but not great odds. Okay, we're gonna rule that one's there. Unfortunately, I have failed that, but I will get 2 experience. I'll get 1 for the diamond rune result in there, and 1 because I failed the challenge. The adversary will get 1 experience as well. Right? Yes, since that was a non-adversary challenge. I don't want to start failing too many of these, because that'll cause problems when I go into endgame scoring. So our next challenge here, yeah, I would have had a 5, so I would have failed that anyway. Our next challenge here, Winter's Heart, 7/6, need a 7, Constitution and Wisdom. I can either deal with Endless Winter for an anti-hero card, 3 Tragedy and a Constitution, or try to restore Summer at +1 difficulty, which will give me a Nature, 4 Triumph, and a Wisdom. Let me look at my cards here. I will actually try to restore Summer, and I'm going to play Teamwork, so I am attempting a Wisdom path, which I'm going to need every bit of help I can get on that, because that's going to be an 8. So that cancels out the +1 from that. Once again, I get all 3 of my Constitution. That arcane can leave shot. And I don't have any Wisdom. So I think... Yikes, do I gamble with Darkness and try to go for a rune? Or do I just take or do I just use Rage on this one? Well, I have all 3 of my Constitution runes and 2 Charisma going into the Dark Lord. But I really wanted to use I discarded Channel Divinity because I wasn't playing that. I really wanted to use Rage for the Dark Lord. But I think here I need to use it. So for each Constitution I have in my story, I get +1 to the attempt. So in my story, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I get a +4. That's a guaranteed 5. So I've got a guaranteed 5 right now. Actually, I've got 4, 5, 6. So I just need to roll 2 of these. Right? Yeah, because I used Rage, which gives me 4. +1 on my bonus is 5, plus Teamwork makes 6. Okay, so just double checking the results here. I should be able to use that diamond roll. I believe that was either 2... Yeah, add 2 to a Constitution. Actually, I can't use that for a Constitution challenge because I'm not doing the Constitution path. I will add 0 and get an experience token from that, but I will definitely clear Endless Winter. So that lets me restore Summer. And then we'll flip this over to find Coronation. Using Strength and Wisdom, I can either rule with an Iron Fist for 3 Tragedy and a Strength, or rule wisely with +1 difficulty. That would be a 7 in this case. Rule with an Iron Fist would be a 6. Giving me a Royalty, 3 Triumph, and a Wisdom. And I think now that I have 3 different story icons, now I will gain the Lore Master, which will give me 2 more experience. Oop. That should actually go up here. Okay, and with that, and now that I've got 3 acts in the... Now that I've got 3 cards in my Act 3, now I have to face the Dark Lord. Okay, so... Now facing the Dark Lord, I'll bring the dice tray back in shot. Now I get my default runes. All 3 of my Constitution. And 2 of my... And 2 of my Charisma runes. So 2 of those. Okay, I'm also facing... Alright, I'm taking on a... I believe this is a Constitution path. Actually, adversary cards I believe only have 1 path as well. Traits only have 1 path, so I'm figuring that the adversary is going to serve as only the 1 path. So it looks like we need to be able to take all of the experience off of the... Looks like we need to be able to take all of the experience off the adversary to win. So we're going to have to do that and remove all remaining experience. Okay, so... Yikes, this could be problematic. This is probably going to dip me into darkness more than a little bit, but I think... Let's see, 7, I'd have to roll 10 successes to be able to take it off. So I think I'm going to spend 2 experience into Dark Runes. This is going to dip me into Corruption a little bit, but I can't help it here. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, okay, so that's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... Right, 2, 4, 6, actually 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I gain an experience. I do go down on the corruption track, which will give the adversary an experience. But because I rolled so much, because I rolled 12, I actually take all of the experience off, and I have overcome the Dark Lord, which means I'll get to add his skills to my story. Which I believe means I just win. Don't move the card to their mat, but... Okay, but I do get to count that. So, let's go ahead and count everything up. Alright, now we're going to total everything up. So first for our triumph, we had 1, 2, 3, 4... 11, we gained another 8 for 15. Yeah, 15 for Triumph. Tragedy, we had 1. Experience, we had 3 left. Story icons, I believe, are scored in sets. So 2 give us 4. 2 give us 2 points. 3 gives us 4. 4 plus for 8. I think the only one we had a set of was Divinity with 3 of those, so 4 points for story icons. And then what's the adversary scoring? Record any points for defeating the final adversary. So actually that... So the triumph there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12. I didn't count that. And we have 2 tragedy because I forgot we played Rage during the game. Alright, and then 7 points for that, for a total of 11, 23, 28 points, which is probably not a great score, but for a first time, not bad. So, now I need a little bit of a thought. Now I need a little bit of thought on how I want to tell this story. So, I'll take a small break, come up with a story, and then we'll see what I do here. Alright, I think I've got something of a story ready to go, so let's give this a shot. Our elven artist found herself training to be a sorcerer and knew from a young age that she had a destiny of being the chosen one to lead her to defeat the Dark Lord and save her land. She showed her toughness by being the only survivor of a mysterious cave, and then later leading the town guard to help drive out the last of the cave dwellers. She then settled into hopefully a quiet life, getting married finding a life partner. And they decided to go treasure hunting, and she found herself in the gladiatorial arena as well. Despite all of this, she still maintained her noble roots and tried to save and made a last stand against those cave dwellers. As they were trying to cover the land in endless winter, she managed to restore summer, and then learned everything about what the spells were about the lore master, about becoming a lore master from the endless winter, also managing to defeat both the Dark Lord and his consort along the way, saving the land. Yes, I know that was a terrible story, but that was what I came up with on about 5 seconds notice. But that's our playthrough of Call to Adventure Epic Origins. We're not quite done yet, though, because I got a delivery in yesterday, and we're going to go ahead and unbox that on the channel. This is a delivery I just got in from Hodari Spiel out in Germany. I'll admit, when I first saw Deutsche Post on my mailbox, or on my floor in front of my mailbox yesterday, I was like, what the hell did I order from Germany? Because I didn't remember ordering anything from Germany. Then I saw the company from Hodari Spiel, and I was like, oh, I think I know what this is. So, let's say we crack the box open and see what we've actually got in here. If I remember correctly, this should be a Kickstarter that I backed and just started shipping probably in the last month or so. But because it was coming from Germany, it was taking a while to get here. So how did they pack this thing? Oh, I think we gotta get underneath that. Okay, that'll make my life easier. See if I can pull that open. Yes, I can. Okay. Should be able to close that. And we see in here that I've got a copy of their Kickstarter. What's this? Okay, let me just take a quick read of this, and then we'll bring what I've actually got in shot. Yes, those cultists proved pesky, but we see that we've got my copy of Roll for Great Old Ones, a cooperative adventure in the Lovecraft mythos. A roll and write game by David Rimbach, and it looks like designed by David Rimbach, and art apparently by Daniel Jamie Williams. We'll take a quick look at the back once I break this box down a little bit. Looks like on the side it's 1 to 4 players, 60 to 90. Okay, in this cooperative roll and write game for 1 to 4 players, based around the Lovecraft mythos, you must work together against the ancient evils of the world. As investigators, you're tasked with finding the necessary clues and fighting cultists, as well as other creatures, to close the dark seals before the ritual is completed and you are devoured by evil forces. That is not dead which can eternal lie, and with strange aeons, even death may die. So after a bit of a delay in getting this, I finally got my copy of Roll for Great Old Ones, which will be another deep product unboxing that I do in the next few days. I'll detail what else I've got later when I go to unbox that, but that will be it for this playthrough of Call to Adventure Epic Origins. Sunday, we're having the last quarterfinal bout in the Greatest Boxer Tournament entitled Bout 2, which will also be the last video of the month for the Ask Me Anything questions. So if you have something you want to ask me for the AMA segment during the end of October recap, get it into any of the videos between now and that Title Bout 2 video, and I'll answer them during the end of October recap. Next week, we're starting New Game November with a brand new game to the channel as we debut Terraforming Mars, the dice game. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.